All right, so you wanted to take a deep dive into the world of Drink Champs, and we're going to give you that backstage pass.
Yeah, what's really fascinating about Drink Champs is that it's not just another interview show,
Yeah.
NORE and DJ EFN. The hosts have really created this space where hip-hop legends and even figures beyond music feel comfortable opening up.
It's not just like a straightforward Q&A.
Right.
It's like you're sitting in on like a hangout session almost.
Yeah, it's very uncensored, and I think a big part of that is the hosts' personalities.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
NORE, or Noriel, as some people might know him, brings this infectious energy.
Oh, yeah, he's got that chaotic energy.
Yeah, keeps things lively. And DJ EFN, with his deep roots in the music industry, he brings this knowledge and credibility.
Yeah, they're not just interviewing, they're like participating in the conversation.
Exactly.
Like they figured out a formula to break down the walls we usually see in celebrity interviews.
And you're totally right. And I mean, think about it. They've had guests like Drake, Kanye West,
Yeah.
Nas, Snoop Dogg, Lil Wayne. These aren't just big names. These are icons.
Absolutely.
And they're sharing stories and insights on Drink Champs that we just don't hear anywhere else.
Speaking of insights, I was reading about Kanye West's appearance on the show, and apparently he went really in depth about his creative process for My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Oh, yeah.
And talked about all this behind-the-scenes stuff
Drama and the collaborations.
that went into making that album a masterpiece.
It's incredible how open he was.
Yeah.
And how about Snoop Dogg's episode?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he didn't hold back at all when he was talking about the history of Death Row Records.
It's like getting a history lesson straight from the source.
Right. From the people who lived it, he shared his perspective on everything,
Yeah.
from its rise to the controversies, and even gave a whole new perspective on his relationship with Suge Knight.
It's like those are the moments that elevate Drink Champs beyond just entertainment.
Absolutely.
It's like a cultural document in a
That's
way.
right.
But, it's not just about the music industry. Tales, they touch on some pretty fascinating themes, too.
Oh, for sure. There's so much more to unpack than just the music itself.
Yeah, let's start with the hip-hop and music industry insights. Like, it's more than just name-dropping producers or sharing chart positions, right?
Right.
It's like they really get into the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, for sure. Like, remember when Metro Boomin was on the show?
Mhm.
He, broke down the art of sampling,
Oh, wow.
explained how clearances work, the legal hoops you have to jump through.
Yeah.
He even shared the story about how a sample for one of Future's biggest hits almost got rejected,
Wow.
and how they had to fight to keep it in the song.
It's that level of detail that really sets them apart.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's like a master class,
Yeah, and they don't shy away from the less glamorous aspects of the industry either.
That's true.
They've had guests who've talked about their struggles with record labels, the challenges of staying independent, the financial pitfalls that many artists face.
It's a refreshingly honest look, I think,
Yeah.
at an industry that's so often, shrouded in glitz and glamour.
For sure.
And it's nice to hear the real stories behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what's so valuable for us as listeners and fans. It's not just about the hits, it's about understanding the context, the struggles and the triumphs that go into creating the music we love.
Yeah, and speaking of context, their discussions about hip-hop culture and legacy are really insightful. They don't just rehash the history we already know.
No, they dig deeper.
Like, remember when they had KRS-One on?
Oh, yeah.
They went beyond his, legendary status as a rapper
Right.
and really talked about, his role in bringing conscious hip-hop to the forefront.
Absolutely.
How his music sparked social awareness
Yeah.
and inspired other artists
A whole generation of artists.
to address social issues.
It was amazing.
It's like you're getting a crash course in hip-hop's evolution as a cultural force.
For sure. And they do a great job connecting the dots between generations.
Oh, yeah.
Like when they had Lil Baby on. Yeah.
They didn't just focus on his current success.
Right.
They, traced his influences back to the trap pioneers who came before him.
Yeah, it's that kind of lineage exploration that gives you a richer understanding
Yeah, sure.
of how the genre's evolved.
It's not just a linear timeline.
Right.
It's this web of influences and connections.
And that ties into another theme they explore really well,
Mm-hmm.
like the guest's impact and influence.
Yeah.
They go beyond just celebrating their guests' accomplishments.
Right.
They analyze how their work has rippled through the culture.
Think about Cardi B's episode.
Yeah.
They talked about how she broke down barriers for female rappers,
Well-
challenging the industry's norms,
Uh-huh.
paving the way for this new wave of female artists.
Owning their sexuality and their success
Exactly. And it really highlighted how she shifted the conversation.
around women in hip-hop.
Yeah, for sure. And they've had other guests who've had a similar cultural impact even beyond music.
Absolutely. Like when they had Killer Mike on. Oh, yeah.
They went deep into his activism.
And his work with Run the Jewels?
Yeah, highlighting how they've used their platform to raise awareness about social justice issues.
Inspiring political engagement.
And that's where it gets really interesting.
For sure.
They're not afraid to tackle current events and controversies.
No, they bring up those hot button issues that everyone's talking about.
Yeah, but that people often avoid discussing, in a public forum.
Exactly. Like, remember the episode with T.I.?
Mm.
They had a really thought-provoking conversation about cancel culture.
Yeah.
And the complexities of, navigating public opinion in the age of social media.
They didn't shy away from the tough questions.
No, and it led to this genuinely insightful discussion.
About accountability and redemption.
Powerful episode.
Yeah, it showed how Drink Champs can be a platform
Uh-huh.
for these important conversations that need to be had.
Even if they're uncomfortable.
Yeah, and sometimes those conversations can get heated.
Oh, yeah, like remember when 50 Cent was on? He didn't hold back his opinions at all.
On the current state of hip-hop.
He called out what he saw as a lack of originality and a focus on trends over substance.
He definitely sparked a debate.
Wow, for sure.
But that's part of what makes Drink Champs so engaging. It's not just about agreeing with everything the guests say.
Yeah.
It's about hearing their perspectives.
Even if they challenge your own.
Yeah. And, they're not afraid to push buttons and spark those debates
Right.
that are crucial for the evolution of hip-hop culture.
Absolutely. And, it's not all serious either.
Oh, yeah.
They know how to balance those heavier topics with moments of pure entertainment.
They're masters of weaving in those personal stories and anecdotes
Oh, yeah, for sure.
that make you feel like you're right there in the room with them.
Like when Busta Rhymes was on,
Oh, yeah?
he told this hilarious story
Mm.
about how he accidentally knocked out a light fixture during a performance.
Oh, wow.
And he had to, keep rapping while dodging falling debris.
Those stories are gold.
Classic Drink Champs moment.
Yeah, full of laughter and that you had to be there energy.
Exactly. And they're not just for laughs either.
Right.
They offer a glimpse into the human side.
Of these larger-than-life personalities.
We see their vulnerabilities, their quirks,
Mm.
the experiences that have shaped them.
Both in and out of the music industry.
Like when Mary J. Blige opened up about her struggles with self-esteem
Oh, yeah.
and how she found her voice through music.
That was a raw and honest moment.
It was, and it resonated with so many listeners.
It reminded us that even icons face real-life challenges.
And it's that shared human experience.
That connects us all.
Exactly. And beyond the personal stories, Drink Champs also delves into the entrepreneurial side.
Of many of their guests.
Exploring those entrepreneurship and business ventures.
That have taken them beyond music.
Like when Jay-Z sat down with them.
Oh, yeah.
And they went deep into the strategy behind Rock Nation, his entertainment empire.
A masterclass in branding, diversification, building a legacy.
That extends far beyond the recording studio.
He even talked about the importance of financial literacy, especially for artists coming up in the industry.
Yeah, it was a valuable lesson.
That went beyond just the entertainment value of the episode.
For sure.
It's like they're not just giving you a backstage pass to the music world.
Right.
They're giving you a seat in the boardroom.
And that's where it gets really interesting.
They're showing how hip-hop has evolved from a musical genre to this cultural force.
That impacts everything.
Business, fashion, politics, so much more.
And they don't shy away from the more controversial aspects of that evolution.
Like the role of substance use and drinking culture in the hip-hop world.
It's definitely a recurring theme, both literally and figuratively.
With the show's name being Drink Champs and all.
Right, but they handle it with this mix of humor and awareness.
They're not glorifying substance use.
No, but they're not preaching either.
Right.
Yeah.
Having honest conversations.
About the role alcohol has played in hip-hop culture.
Both the positive and negative aspects.
Like when they had Rick Ross on and they talked about the evolution of champagne culture in hip-hop.
Yeah.
How it went from being a symbol of success
to being a bit more nuanced.
and even problematic in some ways.
They even discussed the health risks associated with excessive drinking.
And Rick Ross talked about his own journey towards a healthier lifestyle.
It's a complex topic.
Yeah.
And they don't shy away from the complexities.
It's not about judgment.
Right.
It's about having open conversations about a real issue.
That's part of the hip-hop landscape.
Exactly, and that's what I appreciate about Drink Champs.
They don't sugarcoat things.
Or try to present a sanitized version of the culture.
They embrace it all.
The good, the bad, and the controversial.
They're not trying to be role models.
They're just being themselves.
And they're allowing their guests to do the same.
And that authenticity is what makes it so compelling.
Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's like they've created this space where vulnerability is celebrated.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so relatable.
Even if you're not a hip-hop head.
Exactly. It's about human connection.
Right.
And the power of storytelling.
Regardless of your background.
Or musical preferences.
Makes you think about the power of conversation. You know?
Oh, yeah. Especially in a world where everything is so, like, fast-paced.
And soundbite driven.
Right.
It's like they've tapped into this need for genuine connection and like unfiltered dialogue.
Totally. And I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
We're just bombarded with curated content all day long.
Social media feeds perfectly polished interviews.
The whole 9 yards.
But Drink Champs is like, they strip all that away.
And give us something real.
Something raw.
And something surprisingly insightful.
You know, it's funny.
What's that?
We started this deep dive talking about Drink Champs as this like window into hip-hop culture.
Yeah, which it is.
But it's so much more than that.
I think you're right.
It's like a reflection of where we are as a society.
This hunger for authenticity.
This desire to connect on a deeper level.
And to understand the stories behind the headlines.
Drink Champs reminds us that even the biggest icons are just people.
With their own journeys.
Their own struggles.
And their own unique perspectives.
So there you have it.
Your deep dive into the world of Drink Champs.
We explored the guests, the themes.
The impact this show has had on hip-hop culture and beyond.
It's a show that makes you laugh, makes you think.
And maybe even makes you want to grab a drink and have a deep conversation on your own.
Cheers to that.
Indeed.